Today we are going to study Genesis chapter 1 verse 6 through 8. What is talking about 1 6 through 8? Second day, right? Second day. The subject is for second day is understand water for the expanse. Let's read the English Translate Bible from New King James. Let's read it together. Then God said, "Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters." Thus God made a firmament, and divided the water which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. And God called the firmament heaven. So the evening and the morning were the second day. And then those are the one we are going to study. Today we are going to read the Hebrew text and then translate into English, literal translation from the Hebrew text into English. So Genesis 1:6. Biomer. So biomer is ba, conjunction Bob, right? Conjunction Bob. And then amar. Amar is the masculine third person singular, which is a basic form. And then the yod is prefixed. So yod makes the car verb imperfect, right? Imperfect. So English translated as past and said, right? But I just say what? He say, right? He say imperfect status. So as you look at here, car verb is the what? Simple active voice, right? Simple active voice. And then again, same as the Genesis chapter 1 through 5, Elohim is not singular God, isn't it? Right? So the plural cannot be translated God, singular God. At the same time, the plural cannot be a subject of this verb because the verb of this subject is what? Third person singular, right? Masculine third person singular. So, as I repeatedly say many times, what is Elohim means? Elohim is ministry to hope, Almighty. So Elohim is the process of God. One day through seventh day, and then which is my salvation process, and that is from the first Adam to become a last Adam. Last Adam is the what? Last Adam is the L status, isn't it? Right? L. So about that, when we go to the John chapter 10 verse 35, it says what? Gods who become the word of God, right? Talking about the God's living, right? God's living. So that's the Elohim. So why he begin to say imperfect status? Because he wants to make me to become the El, last Adam, right? To become the sons of God, sons of light, sons of day, right? And then next one, Yehi. Yehi. So subject is the masculine third person singular. So this is the subject, isn't it? Third person singular, right? Noun, masculine singular. And then lakia'u use the translate firmament. But when we look at the dictionary, and we're gonna have the word study when we study in detail, 7549. Lakia'u, it says what? An expanse. It's like a expand, like a sheet of paper, right? One expand, right? Expand. Okay. So one of the examples, the scroll. When you think about the scroll is the one of the what? Expand, right? Scroll, right? Expand. So that's why they just choose this one, i.e. the firmament. And then apparently visible arch of the sky. But when we go to the lakia'u word study, we're going to talking about more detail. Okay, so at this time you are going to translate lakia as what? Expanse. Expanse. Okay. So lakia. Lakia is the subject of yehi. So haya verb is what verb? Be verb, right? Same as the Greek word eimi verb, right? Eimi verb, which means exist, right? Exist. So expanse, exist. What status? Perfect status, right? So when it becomes seventh state, expanse become perfect. Make sense? So expanse also needs to grow up to what day? Start from the 1 day to finish in the perfection in what day? Seventh day, right? Make sense? So expanse exists in perfect status, right? So I put here expanse exists in perfect status, right? In perfect status. And then next one, betok hamaim. Betok hamaim. So betok, tabak. Tabak is the noun masculine singular. And then be is the preposition, right? Preposition. So English translate in the midst of, because it's the construction form, genitive, but there is no such determiner here, right? So the tabak means middle, which means the center, middle. Okay, so in middle of hammaim, right? In middle of hammaim, ha determiner, definite article. Maim is noun masculine dual, right? Which means water. Right? So in middle of water, right? In middle of the water, right? Because it's the definite article here, right? In middle of the water. And then water is the what number? Dual, right? Dual. So water is word. Word is water, right? So dual concept is what? Cognition, right? Realization, right? Mm-hmm. So the water. Okay. So in middle of water, what is exist? Expanse, right? Expanse. There's no let there be, right? No let there be. It's not the hipil verb. Hipil is the causative, then they can use the let there, right? But this is a car verb, which is the simple active voice. So no such let there be, right? So lakiau exists in middle of the water. Make sense? Okay. And then next one, by he, same thing, no such let, right? No such let. I don't know why this King James, New King James, many English Bible, they translate as let. Again, in order to use the let, you see this one, which is a hipil verb, right? When it's hipil, they can use let because it's a causative active voice. So, no such let, right? Mm-hmm. Again, haya, same thing, right? 1961 here. Haya, which is a be verb, right? Exists. Exists. That's why I put here, he exists. He exists. Because masculine third person singular, he is here, lakiau, right? So lakiau exists. And then lakiau exists, right? In perfect status, right? And then mapdil. Mapdil. So mapdil is the padar, which is a basic form. Padar, they say it divide, but there is no such the subject here. Hipil participle. Hipil participle. Okay? Causative, active, participle, absolute form. Absolute form. Okay? It's a participle. So when you go to 914 on the strong number, 914. So it says what? Just divide, right? Divide. In variation sense, literally or figuratively what? Separate, right? Distinguish, differ, select. So why divide? For this reason, right? For this reason. When you go to the BDB, it detail more. And then it says what? To divide, separate, right? To divide, separate. And then that's the hipil verb. So hipil verb, you can either say divide, separate, right? And then set apart and make a distinction, divide into part. So you can choose one of these and then you know the concept, right? So why 라키아의 divide, begin to divide, to make a distinction, right? So that way to make it separate, right? Separate. So you can understand light, understand the darkness that we learned from the one-day process, right? So I choose the separate here, but we know make a distinction, right? So again, and separate. That's why it's a participle form. We have to put what? ing form, right? So separation, separation. So expanse, which is he, subject, expanse, exist, separation, right? So then what is the role of expanse? To make a distinction, right? Which means, as we learn from the one-day process, so expanse, the role of expanse is what? Let us know, understand the light, understand the darkness, right? That is the role of expanse. Okay? So we're going to talking about detail when we study expanse, okay? Which is a firmament. And then the next one, pen, right? pen, maim, lemaim, right? So pen, English does not translate. And what is the pen means? What is the pen means? Understand, right? So 996, we can go to the dictionary. So pen means distinction, right? Distinction. This is a noun from 995. 995 means what? Separate mentally, distinguish, generally, understand, right? So I choose the understand. So understand, there's no such the waters, right? No determiner. As you see, here's a determiner, hammaim, right? The water. And no hammaim, this is a maim, which is the hammaim and maim. This is a determiner, ha determiner. There's no such ha, right? So just maim, water. Just dual form water, right? Water. And then lemaim. Again, it's not from, right? Le is what? For. So for, not the water again, right? For, just water, right? No determiner, right? So, understand water, for water. Because water, it does not mean the same water, right? So how many different water brands do we have in the United States? Many different brand name, right? Many different factory, they produce the bottle of water, right? Same thing, right? So this water, maim, is for this water, right? Make sense? So different water, right? Different water. So the translation, literal translation from the Greek into English should be, let's read it together. Not the parenthesis, just the word itself. And he say, Elohim, expanse exists in middle of the water, and he exists, separation, understand water, for water. And then as we study, we're going to find out more detail, right? What is then those means, right? What is the Bible is talking about to us, right? Obviously, physical meaning or spiritual meaning? Spiritual meaning, right? Then we need to find out from the Bible what it's talking about on those things, right? So that's the verse 6. Let's move to verse 7. Again, he will always start from here to that side, right? Opposite to the Greek, right? Okay. Bias. Again, the be is the conjunction verb. Yas is asa. Asa means do or make or do, right? But most of the time we translate do instead of make. So do or make, okay? And then who? Masculine third person singular, right? Not the God, because it's the plural, right? So he make, right? That is imperfect status, right? Imperfect status, right? So making is not complete yet, right? Makes sense? But there will be certain time that will be complete, right? So he begin to make. So he make imperfect status. Why? Again, why? Elohim, right? Elohim is talking about the answer, right? Ministry to hope, Almighty, right? And then et harakiau, right? Harakiau. So again, ha is the determiner. Lakia is a noun masculine singular, right? So I translate what? Expanse, right? Expanse. But expanse is go through the time process, isn't it? Beginning, perfection, right? Aleph through tab process, right? So Aleph through tab process, we translate as what? Whole process, right? So I put whole. Whole, and then definite article, noun, right? Whole, the expanse, right? So beginning lakiau, tab lakiau, right? So same as in the Genesis chapter 1 verse 1, right? Et hashamayim, right? Beginning, heaven, the new heaven, which is a perfect heaven, right? And then be'et ha'aret, beginning, the earth, perfection, which is a new earth, right? Same thing. Beginning lakiau, tab lakiau, right? So beginning expanse, new expanse, right? Expanse, right? And then next one, bayapdeo. We just saw this one. bayapdeo, better. You see? Better, right? Same thing, same thing. Distinction, separate, distinct, right? Divide, right? But this is the masculine third person singular, right? And then hipil, imperfect, hipil imperfect, right? So he, masculine third person singular, he separate. Okay? He make distinction. He makes separate, right? He separate. Who is he? Same masculine third person singular, right? He separate. Again, pen is what? Understand, right? Understand? Hamaim. So determiner. So understand the water, right? Understand the water. And then dual form again. It's not the plural. It is the dual. Water is always dual in Hebrew. Okay? Dual. And then esher is the relative clause. So which. And then mitat. Mitat is a preposition, right? So me is from. And then tahat, you see here, tahat is under and beneath. So from beneath. Okay? You see? Which from beneath. Mitat, from beneath. Okay? So we can go to the dictionary 8478. Okay, tahat, which is the bottom, right? Bottom, and then below, right? When we go to BDB dictionary, okay, tahat, which is under part, beneath, right? So I choose this one, right? Beneath. So from the beneath, which means from under, right? From under. Not war under, it's a preposition. So from, me, from, tahat, from under, from beneath, from under part. Make sense? Okay. And then lakiao, right? Again, lakiao is the preposition. La It's supposed to be le, right? And then the ha is omitted because drop the he and then make the sheba to kamet, padach, right? Padach, right? So kamet, right? Kamet. So kamet la, there is a he is omitted, drop. So sheba changed to kamet, right? That's why they put the preposition determiner. And lakiao, noun masculine singular, right? Which means for the expense, right? So here, for the expense, right? So from on the part, from beneath, for the expense, right? Expense. And then upen, conjunction, and pen, understand, hamaim, understand the water, right? So same thing here, understand the water. And then relative clause, esher, which. Me'ar. So me'ar is the opposite from tahat. Tahat is on the part, ar is above, right? Above. Which is ana, in the Hebrew word, ana, right? Epi and ana concept, right? So, not war above, from above, right? From above. La lakia'u, same thing, right? For the expense, by he, and conjunction verb, he is lakia'u, right? Lakia'u exists. Can, firmly, rightly. 3651, can, 3651. Okay. So can, they just say, therefore, thus, afterward, many different one, right? True, right, correct, right? And then Mikkelsen is set up right? Do you remember kun? Kun is a stand, right? Erect, right? It's same group of the word. Okay? So set upright, just. And then adverb used as a what? Rightly. So I choose this one, isn't it? Rightly, right? Rightly. Which is a set upright, right? So rightly, adverb, right? So now then, let's read it together without the parentheses. And he make Elohim hold the expanse, and he separate, understand the water, which from beneath for the expanse, and understand the water, which from above for the expanse, and he exists rightly, right? So there's a lakia'u, understand above water, right? There's a lakia'u that understand below water, right? Below water. And then last verse, Genesis 1:8. Baikra. We already learned baikra, right? Kara. Kara is same as the Hebrew word kaleo, right? What does that mean? Invite, right? Invite. So, conjunction verb ba, la kara, which is the car verb, masculine third person singular. So, again, it's not Elohim, right? Elohim is a plural, cannot be a subject of the kara. So he, masculine third person singular, he invite. Imperfect status, right? He invite. Invite what? Elohim, right? Elohim, ministry to hope, Almighty. Why he invite? La lakia'u, right? La lakia'u. So preposition, determiner, noun, masculine singular. So for the expense, right? So he invite Elohim for the expense, right? So lakia go through what process? Elohim process, right? There is aleph through what process? Tav process, Elohim process, right? Make sense? Okay. So la lakia'u shamaim, right? So shamaim is what? Heaven, right? Heaven also dual form, right? So why he invite? Why he invite for the expanse? Because of Shamayim, heaven, right? So he invite heaven. Why he invite heaven? Make the expanse to become one with heaven, isn't it? Make sense? Why God invite us? Why? What Christos Jesus says? Take up your own cross, accompany with me, right? Accompany with me. So why does God invite us? To live together, right? To live one, right? With Christos Jesus. So Father is in Son, Son is in Father. We as a disciple, we are in Son, Son is in me, right? Or Father, Son, and myself become what? One, right? So when Lakia'u, beginning, when Lakia'u become perfect, which is the destination, then Lakia'u become what? Shamayim. Lakia'u and Shamayim become one, right? Make sense? So when first Elam, through the second Elam, to become a last Elam, right? Then we become one, right? We become heaven, right? Before we become a heaven, who acting like a heaven? Guardians and steward. They are acting like a heaven, right? Who acting like a sun, moon, and star? They are the one, right? Who acting like a heaven, right? Makes sense? So Lakia'u has to have a discernment about what? Shamayim, right? True heaven, fake heaven, right? Discernment, right? Then Lakia'u has to have a discernment, Ma'im, which is the water, right? True water, fake water, right? False knowledge, true knowledge, right? Makes sense? That's why God invite Elohim process for the Lakia'u, Shamayim, right? Shamayim. And then next one, by he. Okay. And then the masculine third person singular subject is right here, which is a erev. Erev, not the evening, right? There's no such determiner. So evening exists in perfect status, right? By he, boker, right? Morning, not the morning, no determiner. Morning and morning exists in perfect status, right? Then one morning, Yom Sheni, right? Second day, morning, right? So adjective modified to noun, right? Red, apple. White, rose, right? Adjective, right? So not there's no determiner, no the, right? Second day, morning exists, right? Okay. So that's the total. Verse 8, literal translation. And again, let's read the translation. And he invite Elohim for the expanse heaven, and evening exists, and second day morning exists. So those are the second day process. And then second day process is the what? Understand water, right? For the expanse, right? So in order to become a perfect expanse, you have to understand water. Water is the word, right? Word of God. You have to understand the word of God. That's why God gave the water for the expanse. Make sense? So as a conclusion, let's read the concludes part and then finish today. The second day, Genesis 1, 6 through 8, correspondence to Genesis chapter 6 to 11, which talking about Noah time, right? So one day is the first era. We already studied that, right? And second day is what time? They cover the Noah, chapter 6 to 11. The expanse begins to exist. Then who is the expanse then? Second day. Who is the expanse? Noah, right? Noah is the expanse, right? So we're going to study for detail. So Noah begins to exist in the middle of the water to understand the water from the beneath. So from the beneath means the thought of the earth, right? So below, right? Mm-hmm. And understand the water from the above. Above means what? The thought of the heaven, which is a heavenly knowledge, earthly knowledge, right? and then the expanse is in the middle, right? Okay? So you as an expanse, so you can either understand the earthly knowledge, you also understand the heavenly knowledge. You have to have that discernment, isn't it? Make sense? The expanse serves as a voice and promotion for heaven, details the glory of God, declares the work of his hand ministry. Psalm 19:1 is talking about that. And above the expanse, the throne of God exists. Ezekiel chapter 1, 23 to 26, Ezekiel chapter 10, verse 1. So the throne of God exists. Those who perform wisely with an insight, with the discerned are called the expanse. They're talking about Daniel chapter 12, verse 3. For the expanse, he begins to invite heaven in order to represent and promote the true heaven. Heaven is the dual form, which is the recognized truth and polishing. So heaven is needed that can understand the difference between the upper and lower water, right? Water is the word of God. Once Adam has finished recognizing and polishing about the first heaven, Adam becomes a new heaven, born of the first heaven, right? Where does it say that? 2 Peter chapter 3, right? So, born of the first heaven. This process is called Elohim process, right? So, the second day is Noah in the process of my growth. Noah, which means settle down, is the son of 600 ministry year. Okay, so we're going to study about that too. 6 means to be bright, rejoice. 100 ministry means out of sign, meot. Year means transform, right? Okay. And the flood has existed upon earth when the distinction is made that Adam cannot live in the lower part of the water and the upper part of the water must come. Which means when you grow up, get into the second day, you realize, oh, man shall not live by lower water. Okay? We need to recognize upper water, right? Which is heavenly knowledge, right? Because what is the difference between myself, human being, and the animal? Animal lives based upon the earthly knowledge, isn't it? Which is their basic instinct, right? Human being is the same. They are living based upon their basic instinct, right? But we as a human being cannot satisfy same as the animal, isn't it? Because when we go to the Genesis chapter 2 verse 7, animal or creature is the nepheshi haya. But only Adam has what? Nishmat, right? Nishmat is the function that search your inside the deep belly, right? Which is you can question to yourself, what is the purpose of life? Why do I existing in this world, right? Those are the function of the Nishmat. Nishmat is the one searching, looking, seeking the meaning of life about the Almighty God, right? Talking about the heaven, heavenly knowledge, right? Those are the upper water. Okay? So that's the only function different from the animal, right? But most of human being living same as the animal life, anyhow, right? Regardless, right? So few people will be searching for, looking for, and then meeting the Christus Jesus on the 6th day. So that's what it means here. So flood has existed upon earth when the distinction is made that Adam cannot live in the lower part of the water and the upper part of the water must come. Evening, which is a trade, begins to exist, and morning, exploration, searching, inquiring, investigating, begins to exist. Second means transformation day. Transformation period is the time period when Adam is turned into glitch and joy in the hope of the God's nature. So based upon this explanation and summary, and next time we are going to start from the verse 6.